Welcome everyone to my Gpose course, guiding with Brio and Gpose in the test version. That is a very big thing. So you need to use the test version of Gpose due to two reasons. Because first, it is very important for our lighting, and second, it is the only plugin that allows you to actually have lighting options that you can place as many lighting as you want to. So first things first, we're gonna head into Gpose by typing in the chat /Gpose, and then you see the window pop up already. So to the UI, we have two UIs or more, three UIs if you count the mere data hub. So in this course, you're gonna learn how to use this HUD in combination to our vanilla HUD. So let's start right in. For the Brio HUD, we're gonna minimize all of this. You will need an environment. If you do Gposes outside, you can here change the time of the day. As you can see here on the windows, it's gonna change where the sun is standing. This can affect your Gposes a lot if you are not that experienced with using the lighting yourself. If you want to Gpose here as an example, then you can just set it up like this and you have a nice lighting already without having to use any additional ones. So the day of the month always depends on certain events or how the sun is standing, so feel free to experience that as well yourself. With these locks, you can unlock or lock your time or the weather. Both functions. And that brings me to the next point. It's the weather over here. You can change the weather by just simply clicking this little icon. Then you can change the weathers that you have available in this area. So in other areas, you can see you have other weather. But if you're gonna choose a weather like umbral flare as an example, that's a weather in a dungeon, that's not gonna work. It's gonna black out all of your skies and lighting. So I always recommend to untick this box to show only the weathers that are valid for this instance. You have festivals that you can choose. Here in the search bar, you can click through everything. This is gonna change your game to the Christmas events, Easter events, Little Ladies' Days, Valentine's, blah blah blah. So yeah, feel free to use that as well if you need, as an example, a nice background from an event, but you say you want to make a one that has a Valentine's theme, even though it's not Valentine yet, then you can simply just choose it here. And freezing water, well, pretty self-explanatory. You're gonna freeze water if you take this. Then let's come to the next point. That's the cameras. The cameras have a very nice feature of adding as many as you want. By hitting this little plus, you could choose if you want a Brio camera or a free cam. So if we're gonna choose the Brio camera, we're gonna have it here, the default camera that always pops off when you open Gpose. So it's the normal zooming out, zooming in, rotations, then offsets, moving to the left and right, closer, further away, and up and down, of course. So to change these, as you saw, you don't need to always type in the numbers. You can just take the field, click inside of it, and drag it to the left and right. That is absolutely working. So don't worry, you don't need to fiddle with coordinates. To reset things, as you saw here, if I change this and oops, and this, oh, it's not gonna be on the default position. So to reset this, you can click on these little arrows. These little arrows are reset for everything that stands in front of it. Very important, you can use that in posing, with the camera, everywhere. So, that brings me to the next camera, which is gonna be free cam. Free cam is the normal free cam as we know it. Many of you are using a free cam probably already to Gpose. Brio added it now, so you can change it the way you want. Sometimes you can't instantly move your camera with WASD here. To enable that, you have to click the camera movement. So you toggle the camera movement so you can enable that you can fly around everywhere. So you can see everything, can make pictures of everything that you need. Here as well, you have a zoom in very extreme versions. Let me disable the depth of field. You have your positionals. I always like to use the zoom ins for making portraits, since it makes your character a little bit more refined and it looks in general a little bit more crispy, in my opinion. But you, of course, don't need to do that. You can also just do it in the normal kind of way. So, if we, as an example, want a shot from the side and a shot from the front, we can just leave the camera here on the side and take the default camera that is gonna switch instantly to the front. So no matter how you had your camera last time, if I zoom out here now, it's gonna change to the last time you had it. I personally always use the Brio camera, but I think this is just simple, well, priority. Then, here we also have the FOV, which zooms out and in, and our rotation again. Which also, by the way, shows in here. You have this in vanilla as well. You can zoom out and in. It's just a little bit more limited than in Gpose or Brio. Here the rotation as well. So one thing about the default menu I will show you soon. Which is very nice for the camera, but first thing we're gonna continue with this. We have actors. We can spawn actors, with slots, we can spawn props. To spawn actors, you're just, well, spawning another version of yourself. Mostly it's in complete vanilla, without any mods. Unless you choose your collection here. You can choose your collection in any sort of types and ways. So that means you can apply any collection to the person you just spawned in. You can also, with this little button here, load an MCDF file of your friend or yourself in it. For that, you just click it and then you click the person where you want it, you choose it, and the person you want is spawning right next to you, or like on the character that you just spawned. As you can see, I don't have any companion slots here. Because normally if I would have a companion slot, it would show down here in the drop downs. So we're gonna destroy this one and say spawn actor with slot. Here, now you see we have a companion slot. This is mostly useful if you use any props that you download yourself and you don't have the minion, or you need multiple ones. You can here add like mounts, minions, everything. Everything that you need. So this is as well spawning fashion accessories. So if you say you want the Archangel wings, you can have them as well. So feel free to use this to enjoy this feature like you want to, and it is very helpful. So we're gonna destroy this again, and we spawn a prop this time. As you can see, nothing really happens until we scroll out and we see a sword coming out of the floor. It will always be this sword. This is the current default that we have. As you can see here in posing, we can drag the X, Y, Z coordinates around again to move. And if you click on this little icon, you can spawn a lot that is available in the game. So if we say we want a hot iron in tounge, then we can have that immediately here, or a horn helmet, everything. It makes vanilla Gposing a lot better and a lot easier. If you have people that use that already with certain mods, so you can make yourself here a minion collection or a prop collection. You can choose it and redraw it with this button here. So you can redraw and then the mod should show up. You can also scale it. So if I drag this little thing down here to the left and right, you can see the helmet expanding and shrinking. Always works. You can also open up your overlay and pose certain bones inside of it. That doesn't always work with everything. As you can see here, it's gonna not show up any bones. How bones look in the game and how to pose them, I will show you now. Because if we destroy this and we click on our actor, we say, oh, okay, we want to finally Gpose, then we go, we go onto the eye down here in posing and we open our overlay. Oh boy, what is all of this? This is a lot of bones. This can be very overwhelming and I would never recommend anyone to pose like this. Simply go here to your bone filter, deselect everything, and then choose body, head, legs, and if you're crazy, hands as well. Then you just have the base skeleton. If you have a tail or ears, I recommend doing that later. Try to focus on the body you have already. So, now to the actual posing and why I think Brio is a lot better than Gpose. I posed with all three so far, with Anamnesis, Gpose, Brio, and in my opinion Brio is the absolute superior. So we're gonna freeze our character either with this button in the vanilla menu, or we click here, freeze character. This is gonna freeze only the character you have selected. The vanilla one is freezing everyone. So if you froze your character, you have your bones selected, then you have to probably look into this here. We have 4 buttons here that are gonna make sense as soon as you click on a bone. So here you see a little globe that is gonna show us the coordinates of how to move your current bone. You can do this and drag it around, try it out a little bit. You're gonna get used to it. This rotation tool, it is called, is gonna be your best friend. This is what you mostly use when you're Gposing. So we use rotation tool if you have hair or maybe your tail as well, if it clips too much through the floor or through another person, then you use positions. Positions are gonna, here as you can see, drag your bone to another position. You can choose either the arrows to move it or this little boxes to use it like this. I'm gonna show it a little bit. And like this. Then you can, as an example, not move up and down. You can only move it on the current coordinate, but you can move it freely. In the middle, if you click on the middle, you can choose mostly on the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. You have 2 options, elbows and forearm. Never use or rarely use the actual elbow, because most of the time your forearm is completely fine. And here as well, move the arm, not the shoulder. I'm gonna show you a little trick later for that. So I'm gonna reset all of this with this little arrow here again, and then we have 2 other symbols. One is scaling. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's gonna scale your bone like you want to in what a direction ever. So here you see my arm is expanding. Well, I don't want that, but this is pretty handy or useful for certain, well, spicy Gposes, where you can shrink a certain part of your body to make it fit a little bit more. So we have our last button that is called the universal. This is basically everything at one. I do not recommend it. I really recommend you work only with the rotation tool, because this can be very overwhelming and you're gonna click probably very fast something that you didn't want it to, and then you scale something up and then you have to go back and meh. So just use the rotation tool and you're gonna be happy, trust me. To go back, let's say you made a mistake, like you moved your arm down instead of up, then you can just basically do the undo. The undo button you find either here or you find it as well here. You can also redo it to go forward again. You find this always next to the undo button. Or a reset, of course. We also have a reset here. But how do I deselect the bones completely? The deselection is here. It's gonna clear out your whole selection, so everything you have down here will now be the whole character that is moving. You can also use this little purple thing here to move your character all the way you want, or of course our coordinates here, and drag it to the left and right. Here are as well scalings, so you could scale your character in a lot of funny ways. this only works with yourself. It's not gonna work if you import someone. So be aware of that. So, then we have our export poses and import poses. Let's say you find a nice pose and you want to import it to have your character make exactly this pose. Then you're going to click on import pose. Then here's a window that is popping up. Mostly it will show up like this, so nothing is selected. I really recommend you to only click import body and import then. Not expressions. Do not export expressions. I'm gonna show you later how it works and how detailed you can actually make it. So let's see. We're gonna import body, import, then you use the file you need. Like here I have a standing straight one, where just the, well, a little bit of the scoliosis of Aura is fixed. And it is a little of a elegant standing. So yeah, just click that. Your character is gonna move to the position you want or to the pose you want. If you say, yeah, maybe I want this one to have the arm up and behind the head, well, if you just simply drag bones like this, you're gonna have a problem here. If you want to move up your arm, always move it a little bit and then move the clavicle. I don't know how to pronounce it, but use this bone with it. So you're gonna go upwards with this bone, and then with the shoulder, and then with this bone again. Try to fiddle with all of these, and then you can say, okay, I'm gonna bend the arm. This is gonna look a little bit more too unnatural because it's bended too much to the back. So we grab this and drag it a little bit forward. Always Gposing is fiddling around. Try to find what would actually look normal. I highly recommend to you to actually stand either in front of a mirror or turn on your camera, hold it next to your Gpose and hold your arm like that. It's gonna be a lot easier to understand how bones actually work if you look at your own body. Your own body is your best friend when it comes to experiencing how to move bones and how to pose. So feel free to actually look at your own body if you try to pose. So let's say we edit this, but we also want the leg flipped up. Instead of moving every single bone, I have a little trick for you, which is also one of my favorite features in Brio. So you always have, when you move your leg, normally IRL, you move your whole leg, right? So we move the knee, we move the leg itself, and we're gonna move the foot. Imagine this as a chain. So here's the beginning of the chain, here's the end of the chain. So at the arm it would be shoulder, elbow, and hand. This is a chain. So we're gonna move the beginning of the chain, but we click for it to move to the end of the chain. So here it would be the wrist or hand, and here it is the foot. As soon as you selected that, you can click on Inverse Kinematics and enable it. So what we did now is a little magic trick, I would say. I always go to position to move this because it's a lot easier. And then I click on these little boxes, and as you can see, the leg is moving completely with it. You don't have to move everything at once, or like have to actually know how bones move. It's gonna help you a lot. I recommend this especially for beginners or for just simply quick, fast G poses. But it has a little thing to it which I struggle personally with. If you find out how to actually do it, please let me know. But if you disable inverse kinematics and you are trying to rotation tool and you're trying to move the knee as an example, then it's gonna move like this very weirdly. So make sure to actually know how you want to move it before you actually enable inverse kinematics, because this, as far as I found out, is only to actually disable if you leave and rejoin Gpose. But for here, I'm pretty satisfied with how it looks like. Yes, it's a bit uncreative, but hey, this is only an example. So if you want to move, as an example, your arms at the same time, you can chain together certain bones. So if we say we want to chain our arms together so they move synchronously, we can just click one time here, then click the other bone and click here again. And then when you move one arm, it's gonna move the other arm as well. So you can also, if you click it again, and the other one also again, you can mirror the movements. And if you click it again, it's gonna be unlinked. So let's fix this again, and we're fine. To our next step, that would be we are finished with our pose, but we see the hair is clipping, the tail is clipping. We're gonna fix that. So we go to our bone filter, we deselect, we want our tail and hair, so we select that. I like to use the tail a little bit more as an expression to make things a little bit more flowy. So I look where my curves go. So in this Gpose, my curves are going like a snake shape. So I try to fit the tail into this snake shape, either like this. So you see it's a very nice addition to the body itself, making it a little bit more, well, fitting. To move the hair, most modded hairs have those bones with like J, E, X, H, blah blah blah. Those are the actual names of the bones, but most of the time, especially if you use vanilla hair, it's gonna be hair A and hair B. So we're gonna return this and move it a little. Hair is also a great feature to actually express things a little bit more. If you want wind and such, you can move everything a little bit more to the right, like I do it here. Then it looks like there's wind. But here in this Gpose, it obviously doesn't fit. So we look, okay, we just want this straight down. This looks good already, but one thing is missing. That's the face. She's looking a little bit bland and, well, just neutral. For this, I have a little trick for you. So we're gonna clear our selection, And we're gonna deselect all the bones. That's how I do it, so I see it better. Here in the vanilla menu, yes, we make a little jump. We have here a little guy that is sprinting, and here a little button that opens the emote list. So if we go to expressions, we can look through the expressions we have. There is, of course, more in the game, but I'm gonna show you that. So let's say we just want a sneer expression that is a little, you know, flirty, a little evil, I don't know. Most of the times I use either content, shut eyes, simper, scad, ouch for the spicy kind of ways, and sneer. Beam as well sometimes, that always depends on the face. So we say we chose sneer, so we're gonna go here to our animation control, click on blend, and then we type in sneer. Now we have a different varieties. It always will be standard, ground, chair, and blend. You can use standard or blend. The other ones, well, they are working, but not that great. So choose standard. And oh shit, nothing is happening. If nothing is happening, don't worry. You can just click the play. And you see, in her face, we have a nice, flirty facial expression that, yeah, it's just simply very nice. I forgot to move my hair here. It's clipping in my shoulder. I just saw it. So, there we go. Moving this a little bit. Sometimes, you know, you also see things last minute, so feel free to also change that, like, all the way around. So, to this animation tab, we're gonna save this pose first. Click on export, say stand test. I'm just gonna name it, and then we hit OK, and then our pose is saved. So if we say we want a whole other pose, then we're gonna reset everything. And we can also click here on base. Base is gonna show you every single emote, ability, everything that is in the game. You can use all of that for your Gpose. Bases. That's what I always do when I Gpose, and I don't really find a pose that has something like this. Then I just search up vanilla emotes that are similar. If we want, as an example, like 2 peace signs, then we're gonna go to air quotes. And you see already she's going in a sort of position to make 2 peace signs. So this is going a bit fast for me to stop. So I can just here on the scrub choose where we are in the animation. You can also change the speed here. You can make it faster. You can make it slower. All possible. I like to use the scrub because I can actually see frame by frame where we want to go. So we just choose this. This is very close already to what I want. And then we choose our hands. And just simply tear apart our index finger a little bit. We check if everything's on the right position. And we're basically done. It is very simple, and it looks like a very dynamic Gpose already. So you can use this, feel free. You can look everything up here in your emote list, what you have already or what you recently used a lot. You can also use walk forward, run, sprint, blah blah blah. It's everything listed down. And if you hit the play button here, of course you need to unfreeze yourself. Let's unfreeze here. And if we say walk forward and we say initiate movement, we can also, we need to cancel this. We can also move forward. We can make our character run forward. We can make our character sprint, and so on. For tutorials like this, I also like to use lip movements. So if I talk right now, it looks a little bit like my character would talk themselves. And you can choose different types. They are for whispers, shouts, or normal say chat. It's gonna be more intensive no matter how you do it. So feel free to use this as well. It's a very nice feature, especially for tutorials and Gposes as well when you talk a lot. So let's stop this and yeah, let's import our pose again to make the actual picture. We have here standing test and we're back. I'm gonna turn myself. We're gonna apply the snare again. Very important that you enable this on the blend one, not the base. The base is gonna, well, change the base, and the blend is gonna blend into the base. So we have everything. I would like to have a picture from more down, so I need to move the eyes. For our anamnesis fans out there, we have a similar window like this. If we click here on the little arrow, advanced posing. We're gonna click that, and as you can see, probably for you, this body page is gonna pop up first. This is exactly the menu, or like similar to the menu that you have in anamnesis, with a body page and a face page. The face page I use a lot for facial expressions, and especially I link the eyes here. We have our link menu button again, and then both of the eyes are going down. The upper eyelids I'm gonna move, and then everything looks pretty good already. For very detailed expressions, I really recommend using these coordinates and not the rotation tool. You're gonna do yourself a favor if you actually use positions when it comes to facial expressions. Since in Gposes you mostly do it from one angle, if you do a surprised face as an example, you can move up your eyebrow. You see here already, how it moves. It moves a lot nicer as if I would do it with our rotation tool here. It's not moving a lot. You can use it, of course. It is a little bit fiddling around, but if we say we want to lift up our eyebrow, that's not gonna work with our rotation tool, since we actually need to lift up the eyebrow itself. Most of the times it looks very, very weird, but if you look from different angles, you hate it. You're gonna hate it. But if you are actually on the pose where you need it, so let's drag this down a little bit again. That was a little bit too extreme. Like this. And the other one a little bit down, to make like a more questioning kind of expression. You see already, this is pretty like, what are you doing there? So if we open this a little bit more, one eye and the other one, we have like sort of a crazy look. Same goes with the jaw. You move first the whole jaw, and then you move the lips. For the lips, I actually would recommend to use the tool right here, which would be the lips itself, and it looks very badly like this, very overwhelming. So we go into camera and do the FOV. We go up, so actually zoom in a lot. Then we click on our character again, and it doesn't look that creepy anymore. So you can use here rotation or position tool. If you want to have like sort of a disgusted look, I recommend dragging up these a little bit and going into rotation tool, moving this a little bit downwards, and this as well a little bit down. And if we blend out everything, we have a sort of disgusted look. This is a lot fiddling around with things. Look how facial expressions actually are. Look in the mirror, take your time, and don't give up on this. Because facial expressions are very, very heavy to make. That's why I mostly recommend for beginners to actually choose the blending. Because if you're gonna make it yourself, you're gonna be here a while. If we want a sort of crazy smirk, we're gonna drag this down a little bit wider, a little bit more upwards. As you can see, I also need to fiddle a bit, look a bit where and how things actually move. It is also for me like this, so don't worry. You are gonna be fine. If you are someone that takes more spicy Gpose, you can also choose the jaw a lot, because the jaw has the jaw and the tongue. I know a lot of people are having issues with the tongue posing a lot. Then I highly recommend using this. So we open up the jaw a lot, click the root of our tongue, go into our position tool, and then we click the boxes. Very short movements, very important. And you can see the tongue is out a little bit, but stay it like this. It doesn't have to be all the way out. So if I bend this a little bit and bend it in this direction and choose the tip of the tongue and bend it down, this is all a little bit adjusting work afterwards. You see already it's very, very long, as you thought it would be probably. So we're gonna leave this a little bit in here. The tongue is very detailed and very short movement. So be careful that if you pose a tongue, you really use very, very simple movements or very small movements. You can adjust the jaw still, the tongue is gonna move with it to a certain point or amount. So for here, we're gonna make a little tongue out smirk. So this would be your custom facial expression. As you can see, it is very simple, but also not. It is simple to understand, it is hard to master. So take your time and don't give up on the first thing. The facial expressions are a hard thing to do, I know, but you're gonna get there. I'm very sure. So, we need to move the hair a little bit again. It's a little bit out of place. Okay. I'm gonna struggle with my hair strand today. So, let's leave it like this. Then, we're gonna come to our lighting. Oh, no, we don't. Sorry. We come to our camera control, or how music videos are made. So we're gonna save this pose again. We save it on the stand test pose. And then, first disclaimer, this is not my animation. I didn't made it. This was made by another creator. If you want the information about the animator or the link to it, let me know. I'll happily give it to you. I just don't want to expose them. So we're gonna go to our base. So if you go to Penumbra, is cheer on. So I'm gonna close this again. Go into my base and go cheer on, and then stand it. As you can see, there's already the animation starting, but we don't really have a camera. So some mods like this have camera files attached. So we click here on our advanced animation control, which we also did before here in posing, but this time another window pops up, this here. Here you can also change your animations. I just like to do it here and just do the camera in here to not get confused. So we go into cutscene control, we browse our camera path, and then choose, based on the animation you have, your camera file. You double click it and nothing's happening. Well, to fix that, you're gonna say start all actors animations on play. So we stop this, and then we're gonna press play. And then, yeah, of course you need a white space always, but then you already see the camera is moving for itself, making our basic music video. How to fix the camera, because here you see my character is pretty tall. You can here do camera scale. I say 1.15. That goes the camera up a little bit, and now you see it's fitting a lot more. This here is always the Y axis, like it's always here. It's X, Y, Z always. So here is also X, Y, Z. Here, sadly, you can't drag the fields to the left and right. You have to type in how it is. I recommend going in 100 steps if you need to adjust the scale, because mostly that's enough already. Okay, to stop everything, you're gonna press stop. Woo. Voice, and everything stops. If you want to record it, you can also press this button, which says start delay. Over here, it also says 1000 milliseconds or 1 second. So if we type here 1000, it's gonna be 1 second delay. If we add 10 more, which I always do, is then you have 10 seconds forward before the animation actually starts. Then here it's taking 10 seconds, and then the animation and the camera are starting from themselves. So this way you can easily make music videos with files that are already there. So to our last tab, we have the status effects here. They not doing a lot. Some of them are doing certain things, but yeah, it's mostly the effects that you get here. Feel free to use it like you want. The minus and the plus, you can remove it. So, we have our basics from Brio. So I'm gonna import my pose again, this time with expression because we did it ourselves. And here you see. Oh, and one very important thing. If you import a pose, then please be careful that the expression is fitting the race of the character. Because since Dawn Trail, how bones work changed a lot. So the bones of Aura are not the same as the bones as Mikote, as an example. Every race has their own bones, and the bones are positioned in their own way. If you have a Mikote and you made a Mikote face, it's gonna work perfectly fine, as well with the newer poses that you can find. Then expressions will work. Probably also not 100%, but please look if it's the correct race, or else your face is gonna be a little bit fucked up, fucky, you know. So, I'm sorry. To do everything and actually finish our pose, we also look into our vanilla windows. Our vanilla windows also have color filters, so if you don't have reshade or G-shade, this is gonna work good as well. It's not gonna work perfectly fine, but I'm gonna explain later in this tutorial as well how to actually post edit things, the very basics of it, because I think that is mostly enough to go forward. I usually use Bright 3 or Bright 1 when I do things without shaders, because as you can see, it just gives the game a bit more color. Here as well, you have the limb darkening. You see it. It's our Vigna. So you can also do this by, if we say now, I'm gonna make it like this. Here you can change a little bit the form of it. I mostly have it on 1 or 2 based on what the picture is supposed to look like. Sometimes I don't use it at all. You can also color it in several colors. It's working with the color theory. So if you enable red and blue, it's gonna be purple. And if you enable red and green, it's gonna be yellow, and so on. If you disable everything, it's gonna be black. If you enable everything, it's gonna be white. So that to this. I'm gonna set this on 1. Here you have the depth of field. You can use it, you don't have to. If you have issues with it, oh my god, I really need to scroll in. If you have issues with it, you can choose enable manual focus, and then with the slider you can actually choose which is gonna be focused and which not. If it's gonna work perfectly fine with the automatic one, you can just disable this and you're fine. Screen effects are also working a lot in this, as sakura that like rains down little sakura petals, as you can see. That can be very nice in Gposes. There's also particles that add a little bit of glitter to your Gpose. Feel free to test them out. So I'm gonna delete all of this because I'm gonna work with shaders as well. So here you also have status effects, frames, like actual picture frames and such, that come in final already as well. So we have lighting. We have vanilla lighting here. Vanilla lighting works, you position your camera, so if I'm like this, your lighting is gonna position exactly where you were standing with your camera. So if I position myself here, the light is gonna be straight to the front. If I position my camera here in the little bushes and click it, then you can see that the light is coming from the back and standing here. Here comes Gpose. Here you can already see where our vanilla lighting was standing. I prefer to not use vanilla lighting. You can, you don't have to. Very important is, if you turn it off and you want to turn it back on again, you need to go to the same position again. So choose it wisely when you work with vanilla. Yeah, so let's rotate her a little bit. Freeze her. Okay. Then we adjust the camera a little bit. I'm gonna do a little bit of rotation here. And zoom in. Tilt it a little bit. Yeah, this is nice. This is fine. So we are done. We just need our lighting. Lighting, you can, well, it's the same thing with the vanilla lighting. Also in Gpose, if you hit the plus, create new light, you have different selections: point, spot, area, and sun. Point is gonna be, well, a certain point. If you right click the lighting here, you can edit it. So let's say it's gonna be a quadratic point light. Then you can adjust the light by clicking the transform editor. You can warp it a little bit around depending on what you need. I personally never use point because it's basically vanilla lighting. If you want to use it, of course, feel free. I personally use spot because spot, well, it's a spotlight. Spotlights are nice to use. We can choose our cone angle as an example. If we say we only want to light up the face, if we turn around, we can adjust it here, or we adjust it in our transform editor again. But now you may ask, how do you do this, or how do you get rid of this ugly ass edge? Well, you change your fall off angle and drag it to the right, and then you see already that it's gonna be a lot easier to actually position it. Oops, there we go. To actually only have lighting like this. You can change the intensity here by going to the right or the left. Well, 0 is out. And yeah, you can also nuke yourself. So I always tend to go between 14K, 20K, because my shaders are very dark, so I need a lot of lighting. You can also change the color here by clicking the little color field and saying you want more natural kind of lighting. Then we go into the orange a bit, and then you see already it's a lot more natural. So I go down a little bit because I'm gonna use a more brighter shader, and I always light from one side. This is my personal taste. If you want things to light up, or like want to use other lighting, I highly recommend searching up photography tutorials about lighting, those apply basically the same like in Final Fantasy. So feel free to use that as well. A big thing that I use a lot is in the vanilla menu. It's here in the general settings, and it's called manual brightness adjustment. So we click this and we see already, if we drag this to the left and right, our picture is getting brighter and darker. To get more shadows, you can make your general picture a lot darker and turn up your intensity. Then you see already, oh yeah, this gives a lot more shadows and a lot more highlights on what we actually want without having shaders on. Like right now I have 0 shaders on. So we take this and drag it a little bit still, and then we say, okay, this is perfect. We're gonna apply our shader. This is a shader I use. It is made by my boyfriend. So if you want it, hit me up. I can send it over. So this is everything with the shader and with what we did. We are gonna screenshot this, and it gives us a little clicking sound. And most of the time, if you use Gpose, if you use G-Shade or Reshade, you can get this little message above that you actually did the screenshot. So, you have everything screenshotted, everything is done. Now we go into the post edits, and I'm gonna see you there. So I am back in the post edit, and as you can see, I work with GIMP a lot, just because it is a free to use program, and Photoshop, not everyone has Photoshop, but you can use this on both. So we open GIMP and we're gonna search up our Gpose that we just did. We're gonna drag it in, and you can see we are there. Okay, this looks fine so far already, but I want to increase the lighting and the shadows and make it in general a little bit more impressive. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna select our picture. We're gonna duplicate the layer by just clicking on this little symbol here, and we go into mode on our new layer. Very important. Then we say soft light. As you can see, this is a little bit extreme, so you can change the opacity. I'm sorry for the jump scare. So you can see the lights and the shadows increasing. So, what do we have now? How are we lighting up certain areas and such? Well, we make a new layer again with soft light. You can either choose this here already, or you just click here on mode again and choose soft light. I mostly do this on 100 so I can see better where I place my shadows and my lightings. Most of shadows and lightings are based on, well, black for shadows and white for lighting. If you wanted to melt a little bit more in the picture, you can also choose your color picker and pick the lightest spot of your Gpose highlights, and maybe go either a little bit brighter or you leave it like that. That is also possible. I go in with my airbrush tool and I say I want to light up this area a little bit. So we're gonna draw it in here, maybe my chest a little bit more. in here. Just follow the natural lighting that we created. Gonna highlight the side of my face a bit more. And what I also like to do is I highlight my eyes. So I'm gonna change the size. This is still too big. And I just tap it in to give it a little bit more of the lighter effect. Of course, you can erase this if you did it too much. Then just follow the lighting. That's the most important thing. So I say I want a little bit more shadows here from the top. So you can see already this is creating a lot more shadows. Then a lot more for the hat itself. I just do this very rough in the first few things because I'm gonna change this a little bit later. We're gonna enhance here the shadow under the eyes, on the side of the eyes. I'm a very big fan of shadows, so I tend to apply a lot of them. If you're not a fan of it and you're more a fan of highlights, you're gonna work a lot more with white. Feel free. And just try yourself out on that one. This is my personal style, like all of this in this tutorial. So yeah, feel free to change things or do things differently. I take my smudge tool to smudge things a little bit more out and create softer shadows, highlights, everything. So everything just blends in nicer together. As well with the picture. So I'm just tapping a little bit. So let's say we create another shadow between the boobies to make this a little bit more accentuated. So, as you can see already, we did a few things. We can set more shadows in the head to make it look a little bit more realistic. Or also make a few things disappear. If you have the feeling you can't add more shadows and such, you can just, or it's not strong enough, you can do the hardness down here. I usually have it on 56 or 50, somewhere around that, and my opacity on 55. So let's create here a little more shadow. And then I highlight the top of the hair, mostly the hair strand that is standing out the most. I also use it to smooth out the lighting that the game already gave me. Like this. Now I want to add a little bit more shadow down here. To the hair. A little bit more to the outfit itself. So this pops out a bit more. You can really like just follow the shadows that are already there. It's like drawing the line again. And as you can see, it's already very much improving here. So smudge, smudge, smudge. Shadow, shadow, shadow. And we just continue this until we are satisfied. So I'm gonna jump to the finished product now. So, we added everything and highlighted everything up that we wanted to highlight. What I noticed that I wanted to say is use highlights to light up the areas that you want to highlight, and shadows where you want to exaggerate a little bit the areas that you need, and then you should be fine. So we made everything, and you can see you created a little bit of an art yourself on the things that you saw. This is also very nice to look at if you are still improving, to like, wow, you said it, setting up shadows, where you're setting highlights for yourself, just to improve a little bit and to learn. What I do here now, if lighting and shadow are a bit too harsh for me, then I'm gonna change the opacity. And as you can see already, it does a lot. So to see a before and after, you just copy your very first layer, above everything, and then you see your before and after. So if you want to blend it in a little bit more, you can enable this and blend it with just 5 to make it blend in the picture a little bit more. As you can see here, it blends a little bit nicer. Still gives a little bit of more highlights than when you would draw it in, but that's a personal preference. You don't have to do that, of course. In general, thank you all for watching my Gpose guide. I know it's a lot, but you're gonna do that. You can make it, and never give up. If you have any questions or further questions, feel free to join my Discord. There you can find a huge Gpose community and people that are definitely willing to help you if you're stuck. So feel free to join. There you can also hit me up personally for Gposes and how to edit them, how to create them, or in general tips and questions. So feel free. Thank you for your time, and bye bye.